Hi, I'm Lisa.
I'm Dean.
Today we're going to be sharing with you the highlights of our recent trip to Siem Reap, Cambodia, where we spent 30 days. We'll be sharing with you all of our highlights, and this will include some things that I'm sure you expect and see coming, but we also have some surprises.
Yeah, we were stunned by the mix of kind of beauty and tradition and modern stuff. We'll get into it. A little bit of background on Siem Reap. There's about 250,000 people in the city, but you would almost never know from where we were staying. We were staying a little outside of the main tourist area. There's Pub Street, there's all kinds of, there's Angkor Wat, of course, is there, which is just a few miles down the road, right?
Yeah, and the thing that I don't know exactly what I was thinking, but I thought Siem Reap was going to be kind of this really sleepy little town, yeah. And there's a lot more going on than I expected. Yeah. The city is clean. There's plenty of good roads and sidewalks. Lots of nightlife and markets. The markets you kind of expected, but there's a lot of hustle and bustle that I guess I just kind of didn't think was going to be the case.
Yeah, and there's a lot of conveniences with all of that, and some that we were surprised of. They operate on a dual currency system, so US dollars are accepted almost everywhere, and so are Cambodian rial. In fact, on more than several occasions, we showed up and they just seemed to expect that we would pay in US dollars, and some of them were a little surprised when we paid in real. And what was the exchange rate? Do you remember?
I was going to say it's about 4,000 reals to the dollar at the time that we were there.
Yeah, makes your wallet feel thick. It's kind of nice. It's good stuff.
And just so you know, if you do pay in dollars, more than likely you'll get your change given back to you in reals, which is fine, and a very fair exchange rate.
We're never surprised that we run into lovely people almost wherever we go, but we found some of the most kind-hearted, generous people in Siem Reap.
Yes. Maybe you've heard this, but Thailand is known as the land of smiles. Yeah. And I would say Cambodia is at least as smiley, at least as warm, affectionate. We made friends with our tuk-tuk driver. We made friends with the sandwich shop lady. It was really a special time.
Right.
The transportation system is fantastic. If you don't rent a scooter, which we didn't, there are tuk-tuks available any time of day or night. They're on the side of the road just waiting for passengers. Tuk-tuk rides are very reasonable, anywhere from $1 to maybe $3, maybe $5 if you get out to Angkor Wat.
To get all the way across town, yeah.
Yeah, it was very, very reasonable, very affordable. But the part that I grew to love, and I made a game out of it, was how many passengers can you fit on a scooter? And so I would spend a lot of time watching scooters go by and counting people. 3 is very easy. 4 is a little bit more challenging, and Dean doesn't believe me because he didn't see it. But 3 times I counted 5ers. 5 people on a scooter.
Yeah, why don't you go to the comments and tell us if that's even possible.
I'm telling you, it's true. But have you ever seen a 5er? And if so, was it Cambodia or was it another country?
Yeah, okay, all right, the debate is open. Our accommodations, we stayed in a wonderful, wow, it was a house. It was an independent house, kind of in a compound right next door to a great big temple, and it was just outside of the main city, so just 6 blocks away from Pub Street and the main downtown area for Siem Reap. In
the accommodations, we were really spoiled. We had a pool right outside of our door, was lush green forest, not a forest, very mature trees,
Mango trees.
Mangoes were dropping. We could hear the monks chanting from our accommodation, and the amenities were great. There was a pool with several lounge chairs, 2 bedrooms, an enormous kitchen that was well equipped, and hot water in the shower. It was great.
$700. That's
Right.
what it cost us
Right.
all month long. That was our rent. If you want, the electricity was $23 total for the month. So yeah, really.
Wash machine, walking distance to the grocery store. It was fabulous.
Yep. Good. Talk of Siem Reap would not be complete without mentioning, at least talking about Angkor Wat, right on the outskirts of town, just a few miles, several kilometers. I don't know what the difference is from where we were staying.
Right. I remember seeing pictures of Angkor Wat when I was a kid, probably, I don't know, 10 to 13 years old in National Geographic, and I never thought I would be able to actually visit it. And it's amazing. Of course, if you go to Siem Reap, that's the main attraction. The grounds, the complete Angkor Wat grounds, 400 square
kilometers. Yeah.
kind of broken up into 2 circuits, let's call it.
Yep.
I don't know if it was made that way by design, but that's how it kind of works now. So you have the small circuit, which includes the 5 temples of Angkor Wat that you're familiar with. It includes Tomb Raider
Right.
ruins, which have all those impressive routes and several others. And we chose to go on the small circuit with a guide, which was really wonderful because we were able to learn a lot of the history and timelines, and so we would recommend going 2 days. And when you go to buy your tickets for Angkor Wat, you have a choice.
You can buy either 1 day or multiple days. I think, well, we found a tour, I think, for $40 US, and it took us, he took us out in the morning to sunrise, well before sunrise. It was 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
To buy our tickets. Be aware that you can't show up at Angkor Wat and expect to go in and see the sights without buying the ticket off-site first. We went and took the small tour, and we were hooked. We loved it. It was unbelievable. And our second day, we didn't hire a tour. We befriended our tuk-tuk driver a little bit, and so we hired him as our private driver for the day. And that was a lovely experience. I think the tuk-tuk driver charged us $15 for that entire day for a 6-hour
Right.
ride around.
And the other thing about tuk-tuk drivers, it makes me very nervous to hire somebody. I wouldn't expect someone to wait around for that rate, and that was perfectly normal.
Our next attraction that we went to was the Phare Circus, and that was amazing, and we were surprised that not everybody knows about it. It's a really popular attraction in town.
Yeah, it's phenomenal, and I don't think a lot of tourists know about it, and I would highly recommend it. It took us from joy to tears.
Yeah. It's not a typical circus. There's not elephants walking around and clowns and things like that. It's an acrobatic, probably about 10 or 12 actors doing acrobats and acting and storytelling. There was some painting involved.
Live music.
Yeah, it was absolutely wonderful.
The storyline was based on a true story of a young woman who grew up during the Khmer Rouge, and so you think, oh, that's pretty heavy. How are they going to pull this off? And they really did. They took you through every emotion from her school age until she was an old woman. And we laughed and we cried and we were just in awe. And the Phare Circus I also highly recommend it because It supports underprivileged youth. It gives them a skill. It provides training and gives them an opportunity to have a career.
Right. And yeah, more than once I was laughing while I was still wiping the crying tears off my cheeks. I mean, it was really an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, they did such a great job. You couldn't believe that it was amateurs.
Right. So another attraction we saw that also helps the community and Cambodia at large is the Apopo trained rats that sniff out
Explosives.
explosives, landmines in particular, landmines and unexploded munitions from when the Khmer Rouge was in power and the Civil War, the history of it.
Yeah, and it's really fascinating. These are very large rats. In fact, they're called giant African pouched rats. And they're trained in Africa. I'm sorry, I don't remember the country. They're trained in Africa for about a year, and then they're sent over to Cambodia and also other countries. And then they are able to clear plots of land. And they're actually more effective than like a metal detector, because a metal detector will pick up every sort of nail, pop top, anything like that. And so we were told that the area of approximately a tennis court could be cleared in 30 minutes, where it used to take 4 days to do it with a metal detector.
Right.
And these rats are really cared for. They obviously serve absolutely important purpose. It is not a government agency. This was really important, and if you have the opportunity to support them in any way, by visiting or by logging on to their website.
All right, so we were talking about attractions. I think we should take a minute to talk about the food.
That's an attraction.
Siem Reap, number one, they have Pub Street, and they have several other just really busy avenues covered with any kind of Cambodian fare that you can imagine.
And other international fare.
Right, and what I loved the most was the motor scooters that had been converted to food carts driving down the street and
I'm talking, they're going down the road and the embers are flying out of the back because they're still cooking
off
something.
their cooking stove, yeah. We paid between $1 and $5 per meal.
The must-eat meal is fish amok. Yes. Or I liked the chicken amok.
Yes.
And this was very, very typical Cambodian fare. It's made into like a curry. It's always served in a banana leaf bowl, which is beautiful presentation, just to die for.
And if you're brave, you can eat the pepper on top.
Right. And speaking of if you're brave, there are also other meals and other things that you can try. About as adventurous as we got was the fried snake. It tasted like trying to eat a pencil.
It tasted like a fried snake. The next one we went to see was the Apsara dancers.
Traditional dance. Yeah, it was another one of those things where it kind of goes back to your childhood of things that you've seen that you don't understand how they work, and it was fabulous. It was beautiful. There were times when it was funny and a little bit silly, and we did manage to go to a venue where it was dinner and a show, and the dinner was also delicious. And for dinner and a show was unbelievably affordable, from approximately $18 to $25, including the meal and the show.
All right, so we should talk about Pub Street because that's a big deal. Strip of a couple of blocks long, not very big. They call it Pub Street.
You hear a lot of 80s music, which was kind of fun.
In all honesty, didn't spend a lot of time there. We were really interested in the markets in the area, though,
right? In that same location is the old market, and that was a pure joy. There were so many things to see there. Fresh cut meat, fresh cut fish, fresh slaughtered chickens, fresh vegetables. And we bought a little bit of everything. One of the things that I purchased that I really, really enjoyed were packets of pre-made Khmer spices.
Yeah.
So there was a red curry spice packet and a muck spice packet.
Yum.
So that was a lot of fun to see what they had and try and make yourself understood and buy some produce and some things at the market and take it back to our lovely accommodation and cook it.
All right, next up we went to the floating villages. Pong Fluke, I believe is how it's pronounced.
And it's a little less touristy than some of them.
We lucked out that day. We were the only people on the tour, so there was just two of us in the van with a driver and a tour guide.
Right, and the fun part about that was he was more than willing to stop. That we could see stand after stand kind of the same product, and we didn't know what was going on. And it was bamboo stalks that were over an open fire and they were roasting. And I don't know what the official name is, but he kept calling it bamboo rice.
Bamboo rice, go get it.
And so
Oh.
if you have the chance to stop and get bamboo rice, we highly suggest it. And they peel it down like a banana. And basically you eat it like a banana.
Yep. And then you go buy more, and then you eat some more, and then you go buy more. Yes.
So we were very happy that we were able to stop and do that. And then we arrived at the village and we saw this enormous fishing industry. A lot of it is sun-dried, and so we saw a lot of that. A lot of it is smoked. Some of it is used for human consumption. Some of it is used for animal products. Some of it's used for like fish paste. So it's a thriving business.
Yeah, and each family, it appears that each family does their own little business, and they're all doing it depending on the type and size of fish that they catch. So it was interesting to go down the street and you could see what this family was doing and what this family was doing, and it was really neat to see
neat.
that. Yeah, yeah.
And then as we were tooling down the river, we were told that just like every household on the mainland has a scooter, every household on the river has a boat. And one of the neatest things was to see the floating primary school.
Yeah.
And out in front of it, you saw like a playground and a little tennis court, some kind of a court, maybe it was a soccer field.
Yep.
And then all around it was chain link fence, quite high, probably 10 feet high.
That was about 10 feet high, yes.
So the kids are out there on the water playing on the playground, and of course if they kick the ball, they have this tall fence that keeps the ball in. That was kind of fascinating to see.
Yeah, that was pretty much the majority of our trip.
Another treat that we found was a ceramic studio, Khmer Ceramics and Fine Arts Center. I have a note here. That was another place you could visit where it supported the local economy. I believe it also does a lot to support the deaf community. You as a visitor, you can go and take a class and walk away with your own ceramics that you made. In addition, they also have pieces that are already finished that are ready to buy and are just stunningly beautiful.
And so that's about what we fit in for our 30-day journey there.
Yeah. We had an excellent 30 days. It far surpassed our hopes and our expectations. The beauty of it just doesn't end. It's easy, it's affordable, it's safe.
Safe, yeah.
It's just an amazing place, and I highly encourage you to take a trip if you can, if you have any interest.
Yes.
If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, or share this with someone that you know that is interested in Cambodia, Siem Reap, or may be interested in traveling.